Hey, Changing Perspectives listeners, Jenny and I are thrilled to tell you about a new sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online counseling resource who makes professional counseling accessible, affordable, and convenient. They offer 4 ways to get licensed counseling through video sessions, phone call, live chat, and messaging. Every counselor on BetterHelp is licensed by their respective state board in the United States and has over 3,000 hours of experience. BetterHelp is also available worldwide. You can access BetterHelp from every country. There are counselors who speak a variety of languages. Broad expertise in the BetterHelp Counselor Network provides users with access to specialists they may not be able to find locally. So visit betterhelp.com/changingperspectives. After signing up, you'll be matched with a counselor in 24 hours or less. BetterHelp, so anyone who struggles with life's challenges can get help anytime, anywhere. Once again, visit betterhelp.com/changingperspectives. Hi, and welcome to the Changing Perspectives podcast, the show where we discuss a variety of topics including grief, parenting, pop culture, and relationships. Join us and explore a number of changing perspectives. We're your hosts, Jenny and Josh Brennan. Does it sound like there's an airplane taking off right
Nope,
now?
that's just a teenager in the room next door.
No, I feel like I hear an airplane. Hi, Jenny.
Oh, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, someone's computer.
Oh,
I think it might be mine. It does sound like it's going to take off.
it might. Yeah, it feels like we're waiting to take. Like we're on the tarmac, ready to go.
Yeah. Ooh, that would be nice.
I know, right? Let's
getting
go
out,
somewhere.
traveling on an airplane these days. That would be lovely.
Welcome to episode 72. Coming
That's
at
very
you guys
exciting.
with a pint-sized perspectives today. How are you, Jenny?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm ready to this is a Sunday we're recording this. I'm ready to have a relaxing rest of the Sunday, but we were just talking about how as soon as we're done recording, you're not done. You have a million things to get done today.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. This is the life of someone that is self-employed and doesn't have like a Monday through Friday job. I have a Monday through Friday time that I see clients, but when we're talking about like writing and I'm making some changes to website stuff and working on some other partnership things. So I have stuff to do.
Well, this pint-sized perspectives is all about a little brevity, lightness, having some fun. And we're going to talk about a little pop culture / relationship topic today. Are you ready?
we've I think this was on our like potential list from the very beginning.
I think we're just going to scratch the surface today on this, and we'll just maybe
we'll get some notes because we haven't really fleshed out this topic.
No, this is just really scratching the surface. And so what we're talking about today, everybody, is the best TV couples. So there's a whole bunch of other like movie couples and pairings and whatnot. But so we're going to talk about the best TV couples. And so I have an article from ET Online.
Like Phone Home, ET?
What? Elliot.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Different ET. Oh, excuse me. I couldn't breathe for a second. The article is entitled "The Top 20 TV Couples of the Decade." So this is just the decade. So literally just scratching the surface. We're not going to dive too deep into these. I bet you a lot of these we haven't even seen. So we're just going to go through them and we'll make comments.
Okay.
All right. Hey, while I pull up this article and it loads, if you haven't already signed up for Jenny's newsletter, please do so. It's a lot of fun, a lot of great content. You will not regret it. So go to jennybrennan.com, sign up for the newsletter. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right. The first couple is Oliver Queen and Felicity Smoke from Arrow. Did you watch Arrow?
Nope.
I liked Arrow. I've stopped watching it.
Did Felicity have glasses? Was she blonde with glasses?
Very cute.
I feel like maybe you two you three, I guess, would watch that sometimes, and I would watch it and think that they were kind of cute, but I don't really remember more details than that.
I think, them along with a lot of other TV couples. Like, let's talk about, I guess we'll dive into this when we go into this topic deeper, but like, why are some TV couples so like beloved? I think it's because of the courting phase, right? Like the development of how they...
Are you 92?
What?
The courting phase? I
don't know. What else am I supposed to call it? Like
the development phase, of their relationship?
Yeah. Okay. Make fun of me for saying that. Okay. I am 90.
I know. Okay.
I like jazz, cigars, and music. Okay.
Jazz is music.
I mean, what did I mean?
I don't know what you mean.
Whiskey. Jazz. Okay. That's what I meant to say. I like jazz, cigars, and whiskey, so maybe I am old.
Okay. And you forgot. You just used the wrong words. So
anyway.
The dementia there. Okay.
So I think, Oliver Queen played by Stephen Amell and Felicity Smoke played by Emily Bett Rickards. I'm a fan of the show, and I love their relationship because it definitely started like slower, and there was just will they get together? Will they not to get together? I think that's part of what people like about TV couples. It's like their development phase.
Okay.
Yes. No.
I don't know. It means nothing to me.
Because you don't know these.
How many people are on this list?
There's 20. We'll go through them real quick.
But it doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know these people.
These next ones we have. Neither of us have watched this show, but
so let's skip it.
No, we're gonna say it.
Okay.
It's from Bones, Celie Booth and Temperance Brennan. Oh, Brennan. That's
your last name. Mm-hmm.
I should know how to say that.
You really struggled with that.
Yeah. So Celie Booth is the detective, and Dr. Brennan, I think, is the anthropologist, and they like solve crimes together. But I don't know the show, so.
Okay.
All right. Next show I do know very well. In fact, I'm a few episodes behind, but this is from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Jake and Amy.
Oh, all right. So I was watching that show with you guys for a little bit. I don't know how I feel about that show.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, but it's like, it is like cheesy and schmaltzy and like over the top, I feel like.
Really?
Yes.
I mean...
It's not realistic.
It's not real life.
Yeah.
But it's funny. But the character development in that show, I really like a lot. They're funny. Yeah.
They're funny. And it seems like they had a friendship first.
Yes.
Yes.
See my point, the courting phase.
Nope. They developed a friendship.
No, it's friendship first. So Jake Peralta, Amy Santiago, the two detectives played by, of course, Andy Samberg and Melissa Fumero. I like that show. So I agree with that one for sure.
Okay.
Back to the DC universe on the WB or whatever it's called now. What is it called now?
CW?
The CW. Barry Allen and Iris West from The Flash.
Oh.
Played by Grant Gustin and Candace Patton. Yeah, I like that relationship as well. They like grew up together. They were like adopted. No, they were best friends, but then Barry's parents died.
They were kind of siblings-ish. But also I like their relationship because it's an interracial relationship. And I feel like you don't really see that in the superhero universe. Well,
and I don't know if that is consistent with the comics. I don't know that well enough. We talked about this in other episodes, but we're more so a Marvel family than DC. So I don't know if there is an interracial relationship in the comic version between Iris and Barry, but looks like Jenny's trying to look that up right now. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. Barry Allen and Iris West from The Flash. The next show I love.
No, it appears that she was like a white brunette.
So I like the choice they made then for sure. In the show.
Yeah. Yep. So that seems like that was a show decision.
That's great.
In my 5 seconds of research there.
Good job.
Yep, thanks.
The next show we did not see. I loved the movie version, but did not see Friday Night Lights. Eric Taylor and Tammy Taylor. So
it's actually on my list of movies to see.
Movies or shows?
Shows. Yeah.
Because you saw them.
I feel like a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next is from Glee. We used to watch Glee.
Yeah.
Kurt Hummel and Blaine Anderson.
Nope. I have no recollection.
Yeah. Blaine Anderson played by Darren Criss and Kurt played by Chris Colfer.
Is there a picture?
Yeah. Can you
when we're doing the podcast, Josh's computer's away from me.
It's connected a lot.
Oh, yeah. They were at like the boys' school.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I agree. I think that's a good relationship, sweet relationship. I don't quite remember the details or how they got together.
How do you define? How is this defining This is an example of you two. We had a similar, we had a conversation and you took it and ran with it in a different way. I was thinking, what is there to learn from these like popular couples and relationships in television? I feel like you're just saying, here's some cute couples with a cute story.
Do we agree that they should be on this list or not? I mean, that's the question.
I don't know. What makes a cute couple?
I don't know. Makes me feel good when I watch it.
Okay.
And can relate to them, I guess, too. Like a couple of these, I relate to them with my own relationship with you. But let me read the guidelines that ET put on. Here are the guidelines that we followed in order to craft this list of elite couples. Number 1, only one couple per show. Okay. Number 2, all couples were eligible, but they had to be on-screen canon, no fan fiction couples. Okay. Number 3, the majority of the show that the relationship is featured on must have aired between 2010 and 2019. Okay, so the last decade. And number 4, even if they've broken up, they could still make the cut. Okay. Also, one more important note, the couples on this list are not ranked. Instead, we decided to list them in alphabetical order of the shows they were on. Okay. Maybe at some point we should do a ranked version. Okay. Where were we? What were we just talking about?
The
Friday
singing
Night
show.
Lights. Oh, Glee. Okay. Next is from Grey's Anatomy. I should make you guess the couple.
Well, is it Meredith and Derek?
Nope.
It's not Meredith and Derek.
Nope.
Is it baby Meredith? Nope.
No.
Okay. Is it the girl on the roller skates and Callie? Oh, is it the dead girl? Nope. Is it the dead? There's a lot of relationships on Grace.
We stopped watching this a long time ago. Though,
and it's still on. So.
In fact, the image of these two at their wedding, we never actually saw, I don't think, maybe. It's Callie in Arizona.
That's what I said. Arizona had like wheelie sneakers.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. She did.
Yeah.
So you're right.
I was right. Like I think the first time we saw her, she was wearing like, because she's a pediatric doctor, right?
Yeah.
So she was wearing wheelies.
But that's cool.
Yeah,
I agree.
That was the second guess I had, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They should definitely be on the list.
Didn't they break up? Didn't they not stay together?
I think they did.
I guess maybe they.
It does say in season 11 they got divorced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's interesting that they're still. So we liked them while they were together?
Yeah. It said breakups count.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Doesn't take away from the fact they're a great couple.
Yeah. And I guess in terms of like what. They were fun to watch, and they had to struggle, right? Like, because I think Callie wasn't really out.
Right.
Right?
No,
what are you laughing about?
I love how, like, a few minutes ago, you're like, what's the point of this? What are we doing?
Yeah,
like,
and
you have to have, like,
I have to have a direction.
Like, what are we...
This is like when you guys are like, play video games with me.
By talking?
I need a mission. I need a direction.
We don't have to accomplish anything. We can just have a nice conversation.
That's not my life.
This is like the pop culture... Like, this is your problem with the pop culture topics. You're like... There's no academic reason why we're talking about this. What are we getting out of this? No, that's pop culture. It's supposed to make you feel good and just enjoy the conversation.
I think that we could challenge that, and pop culture could make us feel good, and we could learn something. What is there to learn from these couples?
Like the most impactful Disney deaths episode and stuff like that. I get that, but you can also have a little bit of the. We don't have to have a direction. That's okay.
Nah.
Okay. The next one is an animated series from Legend of Korra with Korra and Asami Sato. I have no idea who those people are, so I'm going to skip that one. This next one I absolutely love from Modern Family.
Oh, I feel like there's 10 from that. Mitch and Cam.
Yes,
Mitch and Cam might be my favorite couple.
Played by Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Eric Stone Street. Oh my God. They reference the first episode where they introduced Lily to everybody. Like Cam does the whole Lion King thing when they adopted Lily.
What is it about them that we're drawn to, that we like?
I think they represent like the it's so real.
That's the word I was going to use too, right? Like we get to see, big arguments about big things and little things and quirks and how they bother each other, and then how they're there for each other and how they make life decisions and how they parent differently, and how they're open with their own sort of flaws and insecurities. Yeah, they're one of my favorite TV couples.
So sweet.
Ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's tenderness, and we rewatched Modern Family recently because our youngest started watching it, we didn't get to rewatch all of it because he watched a lot of it without us. But like going back and recognizing how bold it was of a TV concept, right? Like that just blows my mind that it was like this big deal that there was a primetime television show where one of the main couples was a same-sex couple. Like that's just mind-boggling that was a big thing back then, and that it was like so bold of the network to go there.
How long was that in the air for? Like
11 years? I think it was 10 or 11 years.
Yeah, such a good show, and Cam and Mitch are the best.
Yeah. That was a good one. Okay.
Next, probably the most obvious choice from The Office, Jim and Pam.
Yeah.
Jim Halpert and Pam Beesly. Classic, from that decade. We have rewatched The Office a ton of
75 times.
So great. And shout out to Jenna and Angela's podcast, which is tremendously successful right now, The Office Ladies. They're doing this rewatch podcast. If you're an Office fan, you haven't had the chance to listen to The Office Ladies, I highly recommend it. One of my favorites right now. Jim and Pam, John Krasinski, Jenna Fisher, so amazing. Their connection, their acting ability, it's such sweet. And we see because The Office is on so long, I think we see really like their journey from when they were flirting with each other, became really best friends, to one of them putting themselves out on making the vulnerable choice to say I love you, but then not having reciprocate, and then this like tumultuous sort of start. And I don't think they actually got together until the end of season 3. So that was like 3 seasons of like building this relationship. So I think that's why probably it goes down as one of the most memorable and beloved relationships. But then we see their faults too. Like we see them fight, and then they become, they get pregnant before they got married, and then we see their struggles as parents, and struggles when one of them later in seasons, when one of them is getting another career and going away from. It's like we see really everything about their relationship, which I love. But
I don't think it's my favorite relationship from the series.
What is
from
your
The
favorite?
Office?
Really?
I think that Michael and Pam's relationship might be one of my favorites. But
So
then
sweet.
also Pam and Dwight.
Yes.
And also
Dwight and
Jim
Angela.
and Dwight and Angela. I think that Dwight and Angela they're really the central relationship of the show. I think it becomes, it's like Jim and Pam, that's who you think of. Like that's what you said, The Office, Jim and Pam. But Dwight and Angela were together far earlier.
Yeah.
Just not kind of openly. But like their relationship is really the one that
But they had a
took the entire time. And that's the wedding that ends it.
Yes.
Right? Like that is...
You're right.
I feel like that's the penultimate relationship in that series.
We just watched the traveling salesman episode from season 3, and you mentioned the Jim and Dwight relationship when we see them on a sales call.
Yes.
For the first time, and something that they normally had done together a lot, and they're just their connection, their chemistry to be able to sell the paper to that client. I mean, it was cool to see that relationship.
Yeah, and like Dwight asks Jim to be his best man. Like that's and then it becomes Michael. Like that's just like those. I feel like those other relationships are even more tender and sort of dynamic to watch.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the romantic relationships are sort of like the Jim and Pam relationship is sort of soap opera-ish, like,
Really?
Yeah, like she's with somebody, she's engaged, he kisses her, she's still gonna get married, then he leaves, she cancels the wedding, but he's gone and he's in a new relationship. Like the timing keeps being off. I feel like that's the oldest story in the book.
But it works and still makes tugs at your
That's why it's the oldest story in the book, and I feel like their chemistry as actors is also really, really strong. But I feel like it's those other relationships that are really great to sort of see grow and develop.
But I have to say that like when in the Benihana Christmas episode where Michael is realizing Jim helps him realize that he was in a rebound relationship with the waitress. And the way he describes where he's at, where Michael's at, really is where Jim is at. Right. And that how he really loves Pam still. That sticks out to me. But then when they finally get together and Jim comes back from the interview at the end of season 3 and says, like that, so well done. I can't wait till I get to that part in the Office Ladies podcast when they talk about that episode. But that was so well done when Jim interrupts the talking head and says, "You free for dinner?" And then their reaction, like I get teary-eyed
every
to
time.
This day, every single time.
Also Michael and Holly.
Yes.
Like their relationship is also fun to watch because they're both able to be themselves in a relationship, which they're both quirky, dorky people. And so they find sort of their quirky, dorky soulmate in each other. And that's really, really, really sweet. Someone posted about this the other day. I think it was The Office, that they can't ever watch. Was it the wedding episode? No, the episode where Michael leaves. They can't ever watch that without crying. And part of that for me is like when Pam races after him and we don't hear. It's off camera. Like that's their relationship. It's almost this like father-daughter relationship that becomes really tender. That's one of my favorites. I think that's why The Office is always funny. It's always going to make me laugh out loud, and I forget things in movies and TV, so I'll forget little things that happen. So it's like I'm seeing it for the first time, but it's that relationship development. And when I go back, sort of seeing something over again, like you pointed out last night, we were watching something and Pam said, absolutely I do, or Dwight did, absolutely I do. And it turns out it's this callback.
It's this thread.
This with like Jim and Pam and Dwight. And it's this really sweet story there. So, okay.
We could talk.
This is not going to be a pint for
us. This next one is Elena Alvarez and Sid from One Day at a Time. I'm not familiar with that show, so we can skip that one. You're gonna like this next one, Jenny. Jamie Fraser and Claire Randall Fraser from Outlander.
Oh gosh, can we please watch that again?
I know.
We stopped watching it. I read like 3. I actually stopped reading the books. I think I was halfway through book 4 or 5. Yeah,
I love that show, and their relationship is amazing.
Yeah.
Sasanak. Ben Wyatt and Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec.
Yes. I didn't really watch Parks and Rec.
I did. So this was at a time where I was working a lot of night shifts when it was out, and so you and I's schedules were off,
right?
And so I kind of watched a lot of
some
TV
stuff by
on
yourself.
my own. And that's when I watched Parks and Rec, was kind of on my own. But Ben Wyatt, played by Adam Scott, who's hilarious. And, of course, the amazing comedic legend Amy Poehler plays Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec. Love Parks and Rec. Such a smart, funny show. And their relationship is great. I think their relationship is great, really sweet. And they have a lot of tender moments. But I wouldn't put it on like a Jim Pam level or even a Claire and Jamie level. I don't know. This should be on this list, but I guess I kind of wish this list was ranked. But the next one is from Pretty Little Liars, which we have not watched. Emily Fields and Allison De Laurentiis. I hope folks that are listening that are familiar with these shows agree with E.T.'s assessment, but we are not familiar with that show. Again, the next one is from Riverdale, Jughead Jones and Betty Cooper. I'm not familiar with that show either. But then this next one makes my heart.
The guy from it starts with an S.
What?
On Showtime with Fiona.
Shameless.
Shameless. I feel like the redhead from there is in it. Could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong.
I don't remember. Maybe.
And I'm gonna shut up. This is not usually I'm wrong.
Okay.
Never mind.
This next one just makes my heart smile. From Schitt's Creek, David and Patrick.
They might be my favorite couple ever.
Amazing. So sweet. Of course, David played by Dan Levy, show creator Dan Levy, and Patrick played by Noah Reid. Such a sweet relationship. So many great moments. We're not even done with that series yet. And if you haven't started it, please start Schitt's Creek. You'll enjoy it. But we're quickly coming towards the end of that series, so I'm going to be very sad when we're done streaming it. But I totally agree. David and Patrick, great addition to this TV couples list. What are you looking at over there, Jen?
I was totally wrong. He's not in that. And now it's bugging me. What is the name of that show?
Schitt's Creek.
Nope.
Oh, Riverdale.
Riverdale. Yeah. Now I need to know who I was thinking of.
Next is a show that I've never even heard of.
Wait, I just want to go back to the David and Patrick. Again, like tenderness, and it just seems real.
Yeah,
real, and I don't know. I really like the way that's written, and I don't know how the show switched for us from like funny, kind of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like silly, funny category to like, wow, really tender and serious and real. And also the relationship between Stevie and Mr. Rose. Yeah. That actually might be my favorite relationship in there.
Really sweet.
Yeah, because we never see, at least however far along we are, we don't see Stevie's family. Right. I don't know anything about her father, but like there's this growing sort of fondness between her and Mr. Rose, who is her boss, but sort of becomes a surrogate dad. And we see that when he has indigestion, but he thinks it's a heart attack. And she thinks it's a heart attack. Like it's just really, really depth. Like I think when a show is a comedy and it's able to have real depth to its relationships, that's a win.
Yeah, I do think at the beginning of season 1, we talked about this, was a little bit slow to start for us, but you're right, there was like this focus, I think, on the comedy and this sort of shock factor comedy silliness, where now it's about relationships and people, with the comedy as well. It's very funny. Chris Elliott's one of my favorite characters in that. I know you're not supposed to like the character of Roland shit, but Chris Elliott plays an amazing comedic sort of sidekick. Okay, the next show I've never even heard of. Some of these other shows I haven't seen. I've at least heard of this show. I have not even heard of this. It's called Shadowhunters.
Nope.
You know? Characters Magnus and Alec. I guess they have a good relationship. Oh, here we go, Jenny. Speaking of Shameless, Ian and Mickey. I know. Ian Gallagher, played by Cameron Monaghan, who's Jenny was trying to.
Who was not in Riverdale.
And Mickey, played by Noel Fisher.
I forgot about that.
Such a sweet relationship.
And we never. Tragic. That's another show we never went back to. But yeah, that was a real raw. Boy, we should rewatch Shameless and explore the grief there.
Yeah.
Right, because that's really the theme.
Right.
They're like, because then after that, Ian's trajectory completely changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as he's grieving.
The relationship was so tender and sweet and like real, and they really loved each other. There's a little bit like kind of like a Romeo and Juliet type of situation where the family, like there's, Mickey's family wouldn't approve of the same-sex relationship at all.
Right.
And so it was really something that he had to deal with. They both had to deal with it. Really, that's a good one. I totally agree. Very sweet relationship. Next is from This Is Us, which we also stopped watching. What does this talk about? What does it say about us? We stopped watching all these shows.
I don't know.
Randall and Beth. Randall, played by Sterling K. Brown, who I love, great actor. And his wife, Beth, played by Susan Watson, sorry. I loved This Is Us when we watched it. We just never got back into it.
I don't think we can really comment. I think we watched a season. Yeah.
Next is The Vampire Diaries. Did not watch that.
Nope.
Damon and Elena. And that was it. That's the last one. 20.
Oh.
So what, did we watch like 60% of that?
Maybe 40.
No.
Is there anyone missing from that of shows that we watch? So we watch, what are the ones that we watch? The Office, Schitt's Creek, Modern Family. Those are probably the series that we've watched beginning to end.
What did we just finish?
Friends. What did we just finish that we loved?
What was it?
We finished something that we loved?
Yeah, we just finished streaming something recently.
The Americans. I think I actually would put Philip and Elizabeth on there.
So would I.
They're...
Especially the way it ended.
Yeah. No, I mean, if we're spoiling this for you, then
Spoiler
you're worse than we are, because we're like 7 years late to the party.
Spoiler alert.
But boy, was that a real raw relationship.
Yeah.
Just wrought with problems and conflict that they had to choose to overcome and face and deal with. Yeah, that's.
And they were together in the end, and that's so like the final scene of the final episode of the series was so sweet and powerful and impactful and like tender, and you really were like it ended well for me. Like a lot of series that you really love, we can talk if you want to get into the Game of Thrones thing. A lot of series end not in a way that's satisfying for fans. I think Americans really did end well, and that relationship was really...
Yeah, a couple loose ends, but I think that those were left loose deliberately.
But if we're talking about just Elizabeth and Philip,
mm-hmm.
I hit the mic. So.
Yeah.
I think it ended well.
That's a really good, a good series.
Yeah.
If you like that.
Well,
I would also say home. So I guess I have like these peripheral relationships too, like the relationship between his neighbor and his son.
Yeah.
Can't remember anyone's names.
I'm trying to blank.
Michael.
No.
Paige and Henry. Henry and the neighbor Stan. Yeah, like their relationship. So essentially Stan, it becomes like his surrogate father, and you sort of see their relationship grow over the 7 seasons and really how both of them develop and need that relationship in their lives. Like it's just really, I think in all of these ones that I like, there's like rawness and vulnerability, right? Like people are being vulnerable with each other and kind of being their true selves and getting what they need from each other. Yeah,
I totally agree. I'll end with this. One final relationship comes to mind, not a couple, but a relationship from Homeland, Saul and Carrie.
Yeah. I think that's probably the central theme of that entire series, right? It kind of starts with Saul and Carrie, and then that's sort of the final clip, essentially. The final montage is about Saul and Carrie.
Yeah. Not
about her and Brody, or her and her child, or her and her sister, or whoever the guy is that she ends up with, who was also in The Americans. But it's about her and Saul.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Saul and Carrie. Yep. It's not about Saul and his wife, or Saul and his relationship with his job or the president or anything. It's about, actually, I think for so many of these shows that are good, it's the relationships that are the sort of underpinning. They're the things that ground us, and I guess that's sort of a takeaway, right? Is like that's the important stuff, right? It's not the work, it's not the jobs, it's not the things that happen to you, it's the relationships that you get to develop throughout your life. And those are the things that you take away, right? Like they're kind of the things we take away from a series or from an episode, but that's also the things we take away in our lives. It's about relationships. Not just romantic relationships.
Well said.
Thanks, I found a point.
Very sweet, yes. All right, well, everybody, that is going to bring us to the end of this Pint-Sized Perspectives. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about this pop culture topic of TV couples. We will definitely expand on this a little bit more in a full episode. We'll talk about maybe grief with relation to couples, TV couples. So we'll expand it into movie couples and talk about some relationship topics and connect it to this. Lots of stuff to explore. Cool. Anything else? No. Thank you for pulling that article together. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening. For today's show notes links, you can check out ET Online, the top 20 TV couples of the decade. Please follow us on Facebook, everybody, at Changing Perspectives Podcast, and on Instagram at Changing Perspectives Blog. You can also send us an email to changingpodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit our website by going to changingperspectivesblog.com. And while you're there, don't forget to visit the shop to check out all that Changing Perspectives merchandise. Go ahead and subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode, and we will see you next time. Say bye, Jenny. Bye, Jenny.
The Changing Perspectives podcast is produced, recorded, and edited by Dizzy Bird Studios. Copyright 2020. Please visit Dizzy Bird Studios on Facebook, facebook.com/Dizzy Bird Studios.